was very broad. Okay? There's multiple things you could say about these different things. Well, let's talk about them. So number one, what are some things y'all wrote down? What do you know? Okay, it's vertex. You know the vertex because it's in what form? Vertex form. How do you know it's in vertex form? One parentheses with a squared on the outside. What is the vertex? 6, 1. Okay, I can think of one other thing that I can... No, I can't see it in there. Concavity, how is it? Concave down because what is negative? The A. So does it have a max or a min?
It
has a max. Okay? That's kind of the things I'm looking for when I say, what do you know? Like what? Just like that. You don't need to write 50 things. But, all right, what about number 2? Same idea. What do we know? It's factored form because why? 2 parentheses. So what else do we know? It shows the what? Roots, aka zeros, solutions, x-intercepts. What are they? 1, 0, and what kind of 7? Negative 7. Why do you flip the signs on those? Because they're in parentheses. Just like with number 1, you flip the x value because it's in parentheses. The y value is not. What's the concavity?
It is up.
It is up because A is
Positive.
Number 3.
It is standard.
It's standard form because there are
No.
no parentheses. What do you know?
Intercept.
Is
Zero.
0, negative 7. And concave down because A is negative. Okay? So, not crazy. Same stuff we've been talking about. All right, what's special about the points 5, 0, and 3, 0? They're roots, x-intercept, 0, solution. How do you know that?
Because Y0.
The y value is 0. So if I gave you those 2 points and another one and said, write the equation, what form should you do?
Probably factored in vertex.
Well, I didn't tell you the
You
vertex.
said you could give us another one.
A random point.
Oh, then factored.
I do factored, okay? But you need to know, like, hey, those are roots. That's why I should write in factored, okay? Because we want to be smart about it. What's the difference between 5, 0 and 0, 3? One's an x-intercept. Which one's the x-intercept?
5, 0.
5, 0. And then the other one is a... Why is that a y-intercept?
X value is
X value is 0. Very good. Okay, it's details like that we just got to be careful. It's stuff we know. It's stuff that's easy. It's just I don't want you to make like silly mistakes or anything on that. Okay, so that's part of your CFU that you're about to take. The other part, I'm just going to kind of let you look real quick. It's going to be transformations. Same old stuff. Remember, this is what we're transforming from. Your parabola. So you're going to need to know your parent function, the way the graph looks, what the points are, what all the stuff is. And then you're going to have some transformations to do there. And then as far as like writing those equations, make sure when you write them, you have the parentheses squared on that. When you write a quadratic that's been blah, blah, blah. Okay? So we're going to do a CFU. It's a little bit longer than normal just because the lessons are, there's just a few more questions. It shouldn't take you like all class. We do have a lesson today. It's another Algebra 1 type lesson, so I feel like it'll be fairly easy. But we're going to knock out this CFU. Y'all turn them in. I'm going to have to hand grade them because it's transformations. But that's what we're doing there. Okay? Good news. Good news is that today's lesson, again, is Algebra 1. Today's lesson should be short. It should be easy. You should be able to get your homework done. Okay? That's the good news. The not as good news. The not as good news, or maybe it is good news for you, is that next week our 2 lessons, but I only see y'all twice next week, are more intense. If you know how to factor, then Tuesday won't be bad for you. If you don't know how to factor, Tuesday's a big day. Okay, and that's a skill that like literally will be vital for you to learn how to do and do it well, or else the rest of this class will not be a fun time for you. So it's really, really important, Tuesday's lesson, for sure. And it's again, you should have seen it, and hopefully some of you remember it, but it's a real big deal. And then Thursday, the 4.5 lesson, I think is probably going to be something brand new to most of you, but some of you might have seen that before. So enjoy the fact that today's not too crazy, because it's definitely getting real next week. And then after that, we'll review and test. So kind of have an idea of when your grades are coming. The quarter is over. I have graded all the retests. Haven't put the ones in from lunch today, but I have graded. We'll get that done. And then we're just going to continue on in the middle of quadratics. Fun times, okay? So we've spent 2 days talking about parabolas, their graphs, their features. We spent today about all three forms. The second half of this unit is all about converting between those three forms. So we're going to continue, like I'm going to be saying, what form is this? What do you know? Like practicing that so that way that information stays in your head, because sometimes information doesn't stay in people's heads. So we're going to keep kind of spiraling all that stuff throughout the next 3 days. So really 3 forms should be so easy to do by the time you get to that test. But the converting is going to bring back a lot of, again, algebra skills. It's math, like way more mental math than, the 3 forms stuff. So as far as like your next test, converting I think is probably going to take you the longer of the 2 topics, okay? But today's focus is all about converting to standard form. So that is our end goal today. So last class I kind of pointed out like, hey, we didn't really write in standard form last class. Remember, standard form has looks like this. Y'all know what standard form looks like? In general, what is it? Y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. So we know that a is the same a value in all of them. So you need to find a, which, yes, that is the same a value in standard form. We know that c, what's that c value? That's our y-intercept. But you also have the bx term. There is a way you can kind of work backwards using a formula to find your b value, but for simplicity, pretty much if you ever want to get to standard form from either factored, we're going to focus on factored first, and then we'll go vertex to standard. It basically just means multiply it out. Okay, when you have factored form, you've got parentheses going on. And parentheses side by side imply that there's multiplication. So standard form has no parentheses. So if you ever want to get there, you're just like, again, following your order of operations, simplifying stuff down. So as far as steps, so if we want to go converting to standard form, we're going to start, again, this page is on factored form. How many parentheses does factored form have? 2. And we want to go to standard form, which has no parentheses. In order to do that, we are going to multiply the factors out. Okay? Now, potentially, I'm going to write 2 steps here because you also could have an a value. Now, hear me out. I want to explain it one way. There are multiple ways you can do this, but here's the way that I'm going to do this. We are going to, step number 1, we're going to multiply our binomials. Multiply the binomials. What's a binomial? Your 2 terms, your side-by-side parentheses. So I want you to do the parentheses first. That is what I want you to do, okay? To do that, we have a method. It's a shortcut, and I know you've heard me say it before. FOIL, okay? Double distribute, FOIL, they're the same thing. FOIL's faster, but you're going to go through and I want you to multiply out your binomials. What do we write? X minus P, X minus Q. I want you to multiply those first. FOIL first. FOIL first. Then, step number 2, if you have one, this first problem doesn't have one, but the other ones do, then I want you to go in and distribute the a value. I would prefer you to do it in this order. Yes, it is possible to not do it in that order, but it is when people do that, they oftentimes do it wrong. Okay? So, this is the order that I want you to do. FOIL first, okay? And then don't forget about the a. When you multiply 2 binomials, what do you end up getting 9 times out of 10? a trinomial. And then that's how we get to this standard form. There are some times where stuff zeroes out, and that's possible. But, so here we go. We'll try a couple together. Number 1, y equals x plus 4, x plus 1. All right, this is review stuff. What form is this in? Factored form. What do you know? The roots. What are the roots on this problem?
Minus 4, 0, and minus 1.
Negative 4, 0, negative 1, 0. I'm going to probably kind of do that a little bit each day just to keep that stuff fresh in your mind. It's not part of what we're doing, just part of helping you remember, because memory is important. Okay, so if we want to FOIL first, so if you don't know how to FOIL, watch here. So I'm going to get to standard form. I'm going to go ahead and put y equals down here. When I multiply this out, I'm doing the first term times the first term. X times x. What is that? X squared. Good. We got to know that. Then I'm doing the outside terms. X times positive 1 is positive x. 4 times x is inside terms. Last terms, 4 times 1 is 4. And then what happens in the middle when you do your FOIL? What can you do with your middle two terms? You can combine them, and that's how we get to the trinomial. So this will give me x squared plus, what is this? 5x plus 4. So where you would also need to be careful, we don't have a step 2 here, because what is our a value? 1. Okay, it's not 0, it is 1, but does multiplying by 1 change anything? No. Now, when you do have an a value, though, you're going to need to distribute it into that whole trinomial, okay? So we're technically actually already there. Our standard form is y equals x squared plus 5x plus 4. Again, we've done this before, haven't we? You better say yes. I know you have. This is all over the star. What do we know? What do we know now? The y-intercept is what?
0.
Our y-intercept is 0, 4. Okay? So what we started with, what we get to, good to go. All right, I'm going to try 2 with you because there is an a value here. What am I going to do first? FOIL first. So if I do have an a value, I'm just going to drop it down, and I'm going to put my foiling in parentheses here, the whole thing, because this is not a difficult topic. But things that people do wrong are they like just stick the a value in front of the first term only, so be careful with that. All right, x times x, x times 2, and if you can do some of this stuff in your head, then more power to you, okay? I would love for us to be able to get to where we can FOIL in our head eventually. And remember, with FOIL, it's multiplication 4 times to get the 4 terms, and then you do addition in the middle. And notice I am just keeping my trinomial in parentheses right here, because now I need to do step number 2, which is to distribute the a to all of it 1, 2, 3 times. So what is my standard form here?
2x squared.
2x squared minus
12.
2x minus 12. So what's your y-intercept?
Negative
Minus
12.
0, negative 12. Okay? All right. Try 3 and 4. Yes. Indeed. Check and see. Again, I do a couple of steps. I'm okay if y'all do some of the steps in your head. Like, some people are going to be able to do all the foiling and get immediately to the trinomial, and that's great. I would at least like to see like your a and then parentheses the trinomial and then your final answer distributing it all the way in. And again, I prefer you to do the foiling first and then distribute the a afterwards. It's not the only way to do it. I just think it's the less likely for mistakes to happen if you do it that way. So remember what I said. FOIL first. FOIL first. Yes.
So what like 4 numbers called like a quadnomial? Is that like a thing?
This one, we just go polynomial. They don't really have, like, you have monomials are 1 terms, binomials are 2, trinomials are 3, and then anything after that they call it a polynomial. You would think it would would make sense, but
Polygons, actually.
Okay.
okay. All right, are we okay with that conversion? Are we okay with it?
Matthew's already on.
Matthew's already on.
Good job, Matthew. Hope you're doing it right. Okay, next page. Next page. All right, so now the question is, how do we get from vertex to standard? Well, it's really similar. All right, how many parentheses does vertex have? 1. But what's on the outside of that? Squared. Okay, so it's going to be similar type steps here. But there is like kind of a little bit extra with the plus k part. But again, you're going from a parentheses squared again to no parentheses. Technically, all you are doing anytime you get to standard form is you're just multiplying it all the way out. Like that is the process. The suggestion, actually, you really have to do it in this order because it is following PEMDAS here, and that's kind of why I like to keep it consistent. 3 steps here. You're following PEMDAS. Okay, so you have to take care of that exponent first thing. So when you have a binomial squared, we've done this. It's still multiplying a binomial times itself. A binomial times a binomial involves FOILing, so we're still FOILing first. So step 1 is to multiply the binomials. That's spelled wrong. Binomials first. FOIL first. It's probably going to help if you write them side by side and like actually recognize that it's a binomial times itself. So do that exponent, take care of that exponent first. Then, same step 2, if you have an a value that is not 1, you distribute it in, which a lot of times you will. I mean, like example 1, we didn't, but most of the times you will have an a. But then you also have to, step number 3, remember vertex form has that a times x minus h squared plus k. You have to take care of that plus k. You have to combine like terms at the end. CLT, combine like terms. Okay, so it's a little bit of a longer process, but the math is not anything outrageous compared to that there. But it is really important to do this in order. So on number 6, what I would start with is I would have first thing write this as x minus 2 plus 3. I kind of just rewrite it like instead of a binomial squared, I just write it side by side. Okay, and my a value here is 1. I'm going to put a 1 right there just so we can see how it's not really going to be a step that we have to deal with. We want to FOIL first. All right, so I'm focused on this guy. So this will give me x times x minus 2x minus 2x. If y'all know that, what is it? Perfect square trinomial. If you know that pattern, you might be able to do this in your head. Minus 2x minus 2x. Negative 2 times negative 2 is
4.
Positive 4. Don't forget the plus 3. That guy just kind of keeps hanging out there. Again, this is a 1. I'm just writing that so you can kind of see what would happen if it wasn't, because most of the time it's not. Then I don't have anything to distribute there. Because it is just a 1, I combine my middle terms. Minus 4x plus 4 plus 3. Distributing the 1. I'm going to show the steps. Not going to do anything different in this problem. But I have x squared minus 4x plus 4 plus 3. And then here's my step 3. I need to actually, after I multiply, after I distribute in the a, then I want to add up those last 2 guys. So my standard form will be y equals x squared minus 4x plus 7. Oh, I forgot to play the what do you know game. Number 6. What do you know from number 6 originally? What's the vertex? 2, 3. Good. I would keep practicing that. Just, again, it's reinforcement. And then in our standard form, what do we know now?
The
Y-intercept is 0, 7. Okay? Should be fresh on your mind right now. I'm a little worried, though, when your test is still, like, 2 weeks away. Okay? So keep practicing that. But that is pretty much it. So I'll work out 7. I'll kind of talk through this one as well if you are confused. There is an a value there. And again, if you do this in less steps than me, that's totally fine. I'm very thorough. But we should be getting to the same exact answer eventually. And hopefully, we'll get so good at foiling we can do a lot of it in our heads. Vertex form, though, this is the only option, doing it in this order. Quick question, pause what you're doing. Why can you not distribute the A into a binomial squared? Is that allowed? No. Okay, because that binomial is squared. That's why you have to do it first. Again, PEMDAS. You cannot distribute the A into a binomial squared. So the order is real important here. X squared plus 6x plus 9 minus 4. Your A only distributes to the trinomial. I think it's pretty important to keep that trinomial in parentheses there. And then combine like terms. You won't get a calculator on this, so careful with your math. Squared plus 18x plus 23. Okay, so 2 more examples, and then there's one graph. We're going to bring back a little bit of what we did yesterday. We're going to put it all together and write all 3 forms of the graph after we do 8 and 9. So here are the other 2. Again, nothing crazy about what we are doing today. It's really just multiplying stuff out. Be careful with the vertex form. That is the one that people miss more, in my opinion, just because, like, not following your order of operations. You don't have to do this in as many steps as I did, but I do kind of need to see at least, like, this step, and then your final. So, like, maybe 3 for a minimum with vertex as standard, okay? So expect to see a couple conversion questions. Your homework today, your practice, it has like a couple in factored, couple in vertex. All right, flip over. We got 2 more problems. Okay? These are star-worthy problems. 10, and there is a table on number 11. I don't know why you have so much space to do this. I don't think it takes that much space, but... Okay, all right, hey, close your Chromebooks. We got 2 more problems. Close. Pay attention, okay? So this is going to ask you to, given what you have, again, in the notes, we're kind of like spelling it out, like y'all were saying in the warm-up. We've got blanks for you. We're going to kind of be taking that stuff away as we get better at this and expect you to know how to fill it out. But these are like the minimum. And again, I would star this because when you get your test review in a few weeks, I'm going to direct you back to this page. What page is it? 13. I'm going to remember that. Today's Friday the 13th. Go to page 13. Do the problems like this, okay? So, when it asks for the attributes and you're writing the equations, all 3 of them. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and do a little setup right here. What are my 3 equations? My 3 forms? Factored form. So factored form, standard form, vertex form. So these are going to be where I put my answers, okay? So in order to write in all 3 forms, this is at minimum 4 things that I need, okay? So according to our graph, let's go grab those things. The zeros, how many do we have? 2. Hey, Kate, can you get her? 2 zeros. Take those off. Close your screen. Okay, 2 zeros. All right, what are they?
-6
-6 0 and 2 0. Okay, we need both of those. Vertex.
2 and -7.
What kind of 2? -2. I'm trusting y'all's counting. Are y'all counting? The y-intercept.
0 and -6.
The vertex is 8.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, got it. We're good. Okay, the y-intercept is 0, -6. Okay, so those are not difficult to grab from a graph. We've been doing that for 2 days. Okay? But now we need the A value. This is going to take some solving. This is something you had to do on your CFU today. This is something you will continue to have to do in here. So, what can I start? Based off of what I know, I can start in which two forms? Factored form and vertex form. Okay, so let's just go ahead and set up our framework. For factored form, I don't know A yet, but I know it needs to go at the beginning. How many parentheses does factored form have? Two. What goes in those parentheses? Your zeros, but how do I write them?
Opposite.
X plus 6 and X minus 2. It does not. I don't know if we really talked about that.
What?
It would be fine if you put X minus 2 first and X plus 6 second. That's all good. Okay? Let's set up our vertex form in terms of A. We don't know A yet. Vertex form has a parentheses. This is why you're confused, because you're talking. Why I'm talking. Parentheses squared, and I'm going to put in the binomial squared, I'm going to put what? Plus 2, then minus, no,
No.
minus 8. We're in vertex form right now, okay?
We are in vertex form.
So you can decide how you want to find your A. What did we, well, you decide. You can use factored form to solve for A. You can use vertex form to solve for A. What do you think's easier?
Most likely factored.
Do it. Find A.
Uh-oh.
So I showed
That's a weird one.
how to find the A value with either form. You do not have to do both. Are you clear?
Yes.
You only have to find A one time, and that's nice because it's the same A all the way around. I just showed both ways, just again, depending on, like, you're going to have some problems where, like, this is, you have to do it this way or you have to do it this way. In this form, you get options. So I wanted to put both. Also, I would recommend using a y-intercept if you know it. Okay, if you can tell that it's like a nice pretty point, I think that's a great plug-in point because 0 is easy to work with. I have seen some problems, though, that you don't know the y-intercept. So for what's another point I could use if I was going in factored form, what could I use as my plug-in point if I didn't know the y-intercept? I could use the vertex, okay? Or I could grab something from the graph. If I didn't know the y-intercept and I had a vertex, what's a point I could use to plug in?
Any of the points.
Any of the points that is not a vertex. So you could use a root, you could use, I would just whichever numbers. I just want you to kind of be familiar with that. Okay, now that we know all of this, we can go and write our factored form real quick. 1/2 x plus 6, x minus 2. We can write our vertex form. 1/2 x plus 2 squared minus 8. How do we get to standard form?
You just do what we've been doing.
Convert. Where do you want to convert from? This one or this one? What's quicker?
Miles.
I don't think factor form's quicker, but you do you. Okay? So convert that, get to standard. The next page, I want you to do this one on your own. You have a table, okay? List those attributes from the table real quick, and then you can do the rest.
Oh my God.
I need to make sure you can find those attributes on the table.
I want to.
Where's the zeros?
Oh my goodness.
Where's the zeros?
That would hit.
On something right now.
That would hit.
What?
Oh my goodness.
-1, 0, and 3, 0.
Oh my goodness.
Where's the vertex? Hey, I'm not going to help you if you ask for help on this problem and you're talking. Where's the vertex?
1/8.
1/8. Good. Look for your symmetry. Where's the y-intercept?
0, 6.
All right, write all three forms. When you finish that, you're doing the 4.3 practice. And you can put those answers in Delta Math. You will need paper for that.